my family's company that was basically an online store. The project consisted of setting up a server, a database, and a web page to integrate with the with the database to draw the information from it. For the server, I had to set up FreeBSD on it, Apache, which is the web server, and with mod SSL capabilities, which allows the ability to send encrypted web pages so that no data can be grabbed. MySQL, which is a free database that can be used for anything, is a relational database. It is extremely powerful. And I used the PHP scripting language to do the queries and stuff and create dynamic content for the web page. More on FreeBSD. It is a free version of Unix that originally came from the University of Berkeley, and there's a few different versions of it floating around. It's extremely reliable. There are very few viruses and things that actually affect it, unlike a lot of Microsoft products. There is very good documentation on the website that allowed me to go through, figure out what I needed to do, because I had to basically start from scratch with it. I was given a free, somebody set up the basic installation. I had a remote site, and I had to go through, set everything up. I used Secure Shell to access it, because Telnet, people can just, sniff your stuff, know what you're going through on there. And I was entering the administrator password, configuring other things. Actually, and a little more on FreeBSD before we get on to Apache. I had to figure out how to override DHCP requests using Apache because the system has two interface cards on it. One that connects to a DSL router that has a static IP address, which the domain name is mapped to and everything. And the second one is for internal network access, and that's done through DHCP. And I had to override the settings so that it didn't try using the default gateway and everything, because I had to set up to go to the DSL router, which also mapped to other machines. And a little on Apache. It is the #1 used HTTP server in the world. It is very modular. There are millions of things you can add to it to customize your needs. And I also installed the mod for secure web pages. You can view documentation on it at the website, which I had to do many times to get the things working right. And MySQL is a relational database. It is text-based, so you don't have the nice Access GUI to go through there and change things. There are some GUI interfaces for it, but since I was accessing the server remotely, I really could not use those. But later on, I stumbled across a program called PHPMyAdmin, which gives you pretty much full access to do whatever you want to with the database. And I stumbled upon it halfway through the internship, and it made things a lot more simpler because I didn't have to type everything in, which causes mistakes. And that command, you see there, MySQL username, password, and then a file. In order to populate the database, I created a SQL file, just a simple text-based file, that went through, created the database and populated it with dummy values for me to play around with while I was using it. That was a command, I used that command a lot just to reset the database after I played around with it, inserted something in the wrong field or something like that. And you can't really see it, but that's how I originally had to access the database. The top screen's output of one of the tables, and the bottom screen's just a little output of the system administration. And little fun things on there just for fun. That's a screenshot of the MyPHPMN. It allows you to go through, select your database. You can see there's 3 basic databases. The MySQL database, which holds user permissions and things along those lines. And then the store database is the one I was actually working on. And there's an output of one of the tables I was using. The prices and stuff are not actually accurate. And for the thing, they use flat rate shipping. If it's on one side of Mississippi, it's one price, and on the other side, it's another price. And then the My Sale table basically allows, because not all products will be for sale at the same time, but you can't go and delete it from the database, because then if somebody goes and wants to look up what they ordered and the product's no longer there, they're going to get an error. So the My For Sale just basically lets the code check to see if it should list it on the products page. PHP is PHP Hypertext Processor. It is a scripting language that is designed to be used with web pages. You have to enable the program on it. You have to install the program on the server itself. It's extremely cross-platform. Works on various versions of Unix, Windows. Works with personal web server, and also Microsoft's ISS. And of course, it's free because we're trying to keep the cost down in this internship. For the web page, I designed a basic online store. It was designed to be business to business and business to end customers, because some businesses buy products from the company in order to, resell in stores. I think the Surefine over in Harbor Creek resells the syrup. Had to be integrated with the database and allow for remote administration, which just meant going through, figuring out what orders have been placed, updating them, so the customer could go through and view at what stage in the ordering process their order was in, if it was being packaged, being prepared, or shipped out already, or if it was completed. And I used Dreamweaver for most of my web page development, which there's just a simple little thing of what I was using. I added a special feature to Dreamweaver that allowed it to work with PHP, because it does not natively support it. And that's why you see those little PHP tags in the corner. That's where it is. The one over there underneath the menu is for if you're logged in as an administrator. It brings up a couple extra menus so that you can go through and view the orders and update them and update the products list. And this is a sample of the shopping cart that I was working on. It would display the, actually that's the product listing. It would display the product, that is the shopping cart, the number you wanted, the price, and the subtotal without shipping. And then on the side, after you logged in, it would, display your name, your shopping cart, your number of items in there, and allow you to check out or view the cart. That's just a quick glimpse of the home page. This isn't going to be the final color scheme because I'm still working on it. I got a few more things to implement, and I got to figure out what colors work best for the company and things along those lines for the color scheme. This is just another screenshot of the products that are for sale. You can't see it, but on this column there's a thing to add the product to your shopping cart. Then after you add it, you can go through and update the quantity you want. There's a little bit of information on there, such as syrup grades and things along those lines. That's an actual sample of the cart. As you can see, it gives you the total number you want, your total and things along those lines. And then after you check out everything, you can view your user details. It'll give your name and tell you if you have any orders, and then you can click on the view details to view the order details to see what you ordered and your cost along those lines. Many of the lessons I learned in this internship were to document your code, because there were many times when I had problems with PHP code, and I was working on another page, and I found a problem I had on another page. I had to scan back through to figure out what it was. And the documentation was very helpful for all the things. All the programs I used, heavily documented. The PHP even has, on their website, they have documentation that allows users to add comment on there. So you can scan through there and see what other users suggest for how to solve certain problems. And I also, I had to ask a lot of help on this because I've never worked with MySQL or PHP before in my life. I've used other scripting languages like Perl and things like that, which is very similar to PHP. But I had to go on some mailing lists and ask questions and things along those lines when I had problems, because I was having some problems with updating some tables. I was enclosing numeric values in quotes, which is a no-no. It wasn't given an error, it just wasn't updated in the database. It took me a while to figure out that I was trying to pass a string into a numeric value. And any questions?